Grouping text boxes means that you're taking two or more images, shapes, or text boxes, or a combination of any of them, and making them into one, basically for the purposes of moving or formatting them all as one. So for example, I've got 3 text boxes and 2 shapes. I want to go ahead and move them all to the bottom of the slide. Now I could go ahead and click and drag them, right? I move them down that way, then click and drag the shape. Well, notice that when I move it, and there's an object or the text box next to it, that the line from the shape cuts through the middle, and then, well, if I move it above just a bit, it doesn't cut through the text box next to it until I get right to the middle point. I mean, you can go ahead and move it that way, but I've got a better way of doing this because when you click and drag, it's like, oh, wait, am I in the middle? No, move over to the... You see, if you're not as good at freehanding this with the mouse as I am, then I recommend that we go ahead and cheat and use the group object feature. Let me go ahead and hit undo a couple of times, and then let's go ahead and group them all so it's one object, so I can just go ahead and click and drag all the objects here as one down to the bottom. So to select them all, you can do it one of a couple of ways. You can either, select the first shape, text box, hold down the shift key and click on the next one. With the shift key held down, click on the others. Or, let me click off in a blank area. You can do what's called marqueing, which means is that you get in the upper left-hand corner, so all the shapes and objects that you want to go ahead and select is down and to the right, and then click in a blank area and drag down, and you see how it opens up. Well, it's a vertical rectangle now, but as I go over, it becomes horizontal. Whatever falls within that rectangle when I click and drag to expand it, and I let go, will be selected. Pretty cool, huh? So with all of them selected, all I have to do now is go ahead and group them, which, by the way, since they're all selected, you can still go ahead without grouping them and move them all as one. So if I hover over any of the borders of one of the objects and then click and drag, it moves the entire selection as one. Let me go ahead and hit undo. But if I'm going to be moving it around, or I want to format all of them as one, then let's go ahead and group it, and you can do it one of 2 ways. With them all selected, you can either come up here and click on the Format tab, go to the Arrange group, and click on the Group drop-down arrow. There we go, there's Group. Go ahead and click on it. It's all grouped, right? So I can click and drag to move it down. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and hit undo. The other way to group it, let me undo it one more time, which, by the way, I could have showed you how to ungroup that, but that's coming up. Let's go ahead and group it with the right click. Right click on any one of the objects selected and go down. There it is. Shortcut menu group to group. And then you can go ahead and just, click and drag and they all move as one. That's so fancy. And then click off in a blank area. Looks good. You can also, of course, go ahead and select it. Right click on it, go ahead and cut it, go to another slide in the presentation, go ahead and paste it, and then you can move it around. You can also format them all as one, so come up here, click on the Format tab, we can go to Shape Styles and hover over any one of these, and let's click on the drop down arrow, select that one, click off in a blank area, cool. So then when you're done, and you don't want them grouped anymore, or you want to go ahead and format one of these individually, well, you can go ahead and select the entire group by clicking on it once, then click on it again, and it'll select just the individual object within the group, in which case you can go ahead and format just that one. But if you want to break them all apart because you want to move them around separately, then go ahead and right click on one of them, go up to Group, and say Ungroup. Of course, you can do the same thing by coming up here on the Format tab to the Arrange group, click on Group, and go to Ungroup. Of course, after you ungroup, you can always regroup. I think I've said group enough, so that's the end of the training video.